Hello, it is me, Pearl from Pearl and the Prayers. And this is Tuned in Tarot, and we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine inside of self, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others, in our external environment. And if we want to see change, we do need to shift and change the energy within. That is the only way that we will start to see the things outside of us also shift and change. So, or at least that is what I believe. And so today is Friday. It's Venus's day, and we usually do a little love reading today. And we do this one where we look at what the masculine and feminine energy are thinking about each other and feeling about each other and saying and doing, and the happiness potential and the harmony and all that kind of stuff. We look at that and we do a couple of oracles. So that's what we're doing right now. Thank you to everybody who is currently subscribed and sharing and liking and doing all the things you always do. I appreciate that. I appreciate you taking the time to do that. It does help my channel grow. And for those of you that have become members, thank you so much for supporting me over at my turnedintarot.com. You can become a member. Scroll to Pearl's Prayers. Like pearls, like you're my prayers, get it? So go there and click that, and you can become a member at the dollar level to see the extended readings, which I do at least once a week, about once a week. And then there's like a whole backlog of readings that you get to see. If you have just become a member and you're having any trouble with any parts of membership, send an email tunedintarot@gmail.com. I get back to you right away for anything that's not going right. If you need a link that you don't have, I usually send out an email like once or twice a month with the playlist of all of the extended readings and stuff. So if you're not seeing that, if you're missing anything, just please let me know. Okay, let us begin. We're going to talk about divine feminine's overall energy in regards to love right now. Clarity, the Ace of Swords. It's funny, I've been having weird Jim Morrison coincidences. So whenever that happens, I usually like invite that energy to play. And I watched last night live on my Pearl's Prayers account. I streamed this Doors performance documentary that they made for themselves, I guess. And it was interesting. And there was symbolism in it, and there was an Ace of Swords in it. And I noted that last night. I know, Nicole, you were there. So and so it's just interesting to see this be the overall energy. But feminine energy right now in regards to love, in regards to the connection she has with someone, her connections in general, we have this strong sense of clarity. Like she understands what she wants, or she's clear about connections and relationships in her life in general. Like clear about where things haven't been good and where things have been painful and where things are could go and what their potential is. Because once you know how good something can be, then typically you're not going to be staying long in places where it's not that. Your heart is like, no. I know that life is better than this. So I can't stay here. I have to go. And it's going to propel you out of any kind of stagnation you might have had in connections or relationships. I'm also seeing like a future thinking type of a focus where we're not concerned so much with the past anymore as much as we understand that we are shaping our future by the way that we're thinking. And for some, there may be some painful truths that have come to light that have caused us to take a hard look at how we've been doing or not doing romantic connections. For the masculine energy, the overall energy this week is interesting. It's the High Priestess, which is like the most sacred feminine energy. This is an energy of secrets and keeping secrets, keeping things hidden in the inner sanctum. But it is a guarded energy. I am getting a guarded energy, but I'm also sensing that it's learning to trust the way that we feel. And part of learning how to trust how we feel is keeping those feelings within, but not in the way that we've done it in the past. There's withholding feelings because of a fear of them. There's withholding feelings because of a fear of how they will be perceived or how other people will experience our feelings. This is more holding our feelings back so that we can kind of analyze them or understand them at a heart level. That's how we're learning to trust them. It's like, this would be for somebody who tends to, let's say, fall in love quickly with somebody. When you fall in love quickly with somebody, you have these feelings come up, and you're like, oh, I'm already feeling feelings, and then you start to make future plans in regard to those feelings. So what I'm sensing is happening now is that we're getting somebody who is aware of their feelings and holding the feelings as sacred, like being like, oh, I feel something, and that's a sacred feeling. And then guarding it there until you can be sure that you can trust the feeling. And this is something that has always worked against us in the past because we've been overly analytical. But what I'm sensing now is that we're doing something new. So if we were consistently in analysis paralysis because we would never be able to trust our feelings, we were constantly overthinking them, what I'm getting is more of a balance here, because the High Priestess, of course, is in balance, head and heart, black pillar and white pillar. She believes in the way she feels, but she also believes that the way that she thinks about how she feels is accurate. And so that would be, I trust that. I feel this person is not good for me. I'm trusting that. That's an accurate perception. It's not something I'm doubting. So self-doubt is being cut away. We are learning to trust ourselves. And of course, whatever you yourself have going on within you, you're seeing reflected back to you and the people around you. And if the relationships aren't working, because people will say, well, I am that way, but then the people in my life are doing this or that, and they're not, and it's not going like you said. It's like, no, it is going like I said. I said, you're learning to trust yourself. And the people around you are doing that. And if they aren't, then they're not coming into your world to be with you. And would you want to be with somebody who is consistently doubting themselves, not able to trust their feelings or emotions, guarded in a negative way with their, feelings? Or do you want somebody who trusts how they feel, makes future plans based on those feelings, feels secured in that way, is balanced in head and heart? Which one do you want? Oh, you want that one. Okay. Well, then the one that you want that doesn't match that isn't coming, you don't actually want now, do you? But you're like, no, but I do. I want that one. No, you don't. But your ego does, and you have to learn the difference. And that's what is happening this week. You're learning the difference. My head wants something that my heart is like, no. What you feel is unconditional love. What you want is something more. You want the person that is also with you to be unconditionally loving, right? And if this person is incapable of that, do you want them? Do you want somebody who's incapable of unconditional love, or do you want somebody who loves with conditions? Right? Okay, that's that. So, what is the underlying energy of this week? It's kind of exciting, not gonna lie. It's the Wheel of Fortune, so that's showing me a big change for feminine energy here. Good luck, prosperity, and abundance can come with this. Karmic cycles that have been continuing to go around and around, maybe finally making a drastic change based on this information that we have. Because we've got, in the masculine energy, finally, action is being taken. And if you're like, oh, this means my person is going to take action, please dial that back a little bit. If you are obsessed with your person taking action, it's unlikely they will. If your first thing you leapt to was like, yes, action, movement, motion, things are going to get going in my life, in all areas of my life, because you have a sense that you're a whole person and not just somebody who's waiting for a relationship to happen, that's when someone's likely to take action. If you're thinking, finally, I'm taking action towards my fortune. I'm ending those cycles that were keeping me stuck. I'm seeing a different future. I'm trusting in myself. I'm not doubting myself. I'm going to finally do what it is that I said I was going to do, which is what I said I was going to master my record. Well, I got a text the other day, and that's happening right now. So I didn't even get the money that I needed, and the universe was like, we're this is happening without the money. I don't care. This is how it's going to happen. And so that's what's happening. And then I was like, oh no, now I have to single-handedly, because that was my initial thought, boldly and confidently release 4 singles all by or 4 tracks on a 4-track EP all by myself. Then I dialed that back and was like, no, it won't be all by yourself. And I figured out that I can use that urgency to also try to find help with the release, and it's all going to go well and everything's fine, but I have to take action. So when I see this, I'm like, finally, I'm going to take action. I'm going to do what it is that I need to do to create this fortune for myself. Because manifesting is not just being like, I want a fortune. Manifesting is, I am believing that these inspired actions are leading me to this fortune that I am seeking, or this change, or this experience, or whatever. Okay? So what that means for connections is that you see clearly what you need, what you desire. You trust the feelings you have. So when someone presents and is like, hi, it's me, I want to take this in a direction, you trust how you feel about them. You trust if it's like, yeah, I could see that going somewhere. Or you trust if you're like, that's not feeling good to me. So that's where you are. And your person is in a place where they can trust themselves to take action as well. So that's kind of cool. So what are you thinking about the connection? What is the feminine energy focused on? What is the masculine energy's thoughts focused on? Those leaning into the feminine energy right now, remember, a lot of us are balanced, so we probably will have both of these things be true about ourselves. We have this card that actually exists outside of the tarot. And that's interesting too, because this is making me think that you think this connection exists outside of traditions, norms, structures. This person, this individual that you're calling to you, maybe you haven't even seen them yet. I'm getting a sense that some of you don't even see this person or know who this person is. But there is this feeling that they're coming from something that's outside of what you've known, and it's the fountain, which is also endless abundance. There's an infinity symbol here, which is the eternal connection aspect. And I look at this also as it can represent the internet, or because it's the fountain is like the source of knowledge, and I feel like that this could also represent like a digital or a virtual thing. So like you think that this connection maybe exists only on the internet, or you only have a virtual experience of it right now. Like maybe it hasn't fully crystallized into the 3D as of yet, but this is how you're thinking about this connection with the divine. So what it's so interesting because the masculine is thinking right now of this connection in terms of the hermit. And I'm seeing this light, and then in the hermit card, the light that you're following it's drawing you inward, but when you go inward, what you find is this light. So this gives me you might be a step ahead of someone kind of a vibe. This is like you did this hermit energy, you went inward into your feminine energy, you found the light, and now you're seeking this light outside of self, but you're very aware of it. And this person that maybe you came into contact with, which once they saw this light, it was very bright, and they retreated into themselves. I think a fear of your light is coming up, only to find that light within, which I think for the feminine feels like this card. Let me read you this, because I've read this before, and the description on it is important. I know. This card is B. It says, the fountain exists outside and beyond the cycles of birth, death, time, and form. It is the nameless, changeless source of which everything is a part. It is the waking from the dream of separateness and identity and the recognition of oneself as not only connected to all things, but all things. Divine nature. When the fountain appears in your reading, relinquish all illusion of control and remain quiet. It invites you to observe, master less, and to just be, effortless and indistinguishable from life. You are the voice and the breath of universes. Oneness, a moment of cosmic clarity, which is what we freaking said this entire week, is fully awake, the end of seeking, enlightened being, surrender to that which you are, whole and perfect. Damn. Okay, now what's really cool about this is Divine Feminine has really achieved this level of ascension that has ironically caused the masculine to feel incredibly alone. Because what happened is the Divine Feminine has pursued this connection sort of relentlessly for quite a while. And then finally what happens when you are pursuing something and it's not happening is you're forced to give up. And when you give up, there's nothing left there, because you've actually, in that obsession and that focus and that fixation, you've alienated and isolated yourself from everything. And it's in that quiet that you have your choice. And some people choose to leave forever. And some people who stay, they choose to remain just kind of lost in that void. And others, you, go inside and find the light. And because you found it inside of yourself and then realized it was nowhere outside of yourself and you would never have found it in the other person, all that would have happened is that you would have continued to push the other person away until you were finally forced to see the light in yourself. And that's what happened. And so what happens now is your person feels abandoned and they feel alone because they feel your disconnect from them is, of course, about someone else, but they don't understand that the beloved that you found was like the beloved, the one that Rumi talks about in Rumi's poetry. Rumi is not saying anything about, the twin flame. There's so many people that talk about Rumi's poetry as being about the twin flame. I mean, if the twin flame is God, then yes, Rumi's talking about the twin flame. But if it's a person, no, that's not at all what Rumi is speaking about. Okay, so, wow. So Divine Feminine is having profound enlightenment in this connection, a lot of clarity, and so is the Divine Masculine. The Divine Masculine recognizing, if I search for what I'm looking for outside of me, I will never find what I'm looking for. But I recognize what I've looked for outside of me in this other person. I can see that light because I know my own light. I found my own light and I can see it. And that's what's driving this action. It's kind of exciting. How does Divine Feminine feel about the connection? Oh my God, look at all this bursts of light. This coming through in this. These are cards that have people in them. And we have yet to see a single figure. All of this is light. And it's fire and passion. It's kind of incredible. So right now, Divine Feminine might have someone on her mind that is inciting a lot of passion and desire. However, I really think that this is just going back to the self. I think that Divine Feminine is more excited about what she is passionate about, and that is on all areas of her life. It is not just within one single person. She's passionate for life itself. That's how she feels. She's like, this connection, that connection, any connections right now would fire me up, because I feel like I figured something really important out. And I have probably a strong desire for physical intimacy because I want to experience it in this new light. What does divine masculine feel about the connection? The star. The star persists. I've seen the star many times today. This is what I have been hoping for. This is what I was wishing for. This is what I have been healing in order to prepare myself to receive. And the feminine energy is just a star. She is, she's right now, observing her is a peak experience for the masculine. Simply seeing her, simply 333 when I'm saying this, and it's 22333 on my, and 11 people in the room. So seeing her do her thing is a peak experience for this masculine. What this also means is that his own creativity on display, his own emotion coming out, is a peak experience for him. And probably anything that he's doing creatively towards a feminine energy is a peak experience. So if he's creating something, it's for her. It's that for her energy. What is divine feminine saying to the divine masculine? Unbelievably, the sun is coming out. So now we have so much light. This is the most light I've ever seen. This is play. Like, let's play, let's have fun, let's enjoy, let's just be light. Haven't we been in that moon energy long enough? Like, in the mysterious, in the deeply emotional, in the, like, let's just have a good time, for fuck's sake, please. Can we just, Jesus. And also there might be conversations, because we're at different, I can sense that we're in a different point in the collective now, where there are people who are entering into union rather than being in the position of it's always coming. I think there are people who are currently talking to people. So what, in those cases too, we have divine feminine really just said happy. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm happy to enjoy your company. I'm sort of basking in the light of this. I'm playing and I'm having fun. I'm having a good time. Okay. And so that's happening. And then for the masculine energy, what is the masculine energy saying to the feminine energy? We have the Four of Pentacles. Okay. Now here is interesting. This is, for some, we've got masculine energy that feels left out, alone, watching the feminine energy be a star, and is getting a sense of like, okay, so for some I feel that they might perceive divine feminine energy or worry that divine feminine energy might be clingy. So they might be actively trying to discourage the feminine from being clingy to them by how they're like pacing their communication with the feminine. Or I'm getting some kind of strategy coming from that. I don't normally, but I'm getting pieces on a board, which I don't normally feel. And the fact that it's divine feminine who's kind of got this, all of this, but this can also indicate to me too that there's a person who's building their they're stabilizing or building a foundation for their emotions for the feminine energy too. It can also be represented there. Like, and what they can be saying is, I'm working on my finances, and I'm holding on to my feelings for you while I'm doing that. Like, I'm building something because of my feelings for you. Like, I want to be able to make you happy. So I want to, kind of do something that's going to be significant to you. So that's what they're saying. What are they actually doing? What's divine feminine actually doing? We have the Five of Swords here. I told you, there's a point when you just give up and you focus on the light within, and like that is the point when things really take off. And so the feminine isn't doing anything to try to progress this connection. She's just definitely got a sense of like, I don't do mental conflict or mental struggle. I don't do anxious attachment anymore. If somebody takes their time getting back to me, like, that's fine. There's other people talking to me. And that's not in a shady way either. It's like friends, family, potentially if you're dating multiple people, hopefully you have a few different people you're talking to, because if you're focusing on just one single person at a time, you are probably going to be putting a little bit too much emphasis onto any one of those singular connections. Whereas if you have, a little space and the ability to talk to a few different people, which doesn't mean you have to be physically intimate with a few different people if you're uncomfortable with that. That's frankly something that's not that simple for me to navigate, but to be able to communicate and see where things go means that you're not going to like conflate any one relationship as being more important, more significant than it really is. Hi Luna, I'm seeing you come up there. So what's Divine Feminine doing? She's not doing anything really to try to manipulate or change the situation, or she's just like, you know what? I don't think about it anymore. I don't think about it. I let the masculine energy do what the masculine energy is going to do. It's not really important to me. I have my own things going on, and I'll let him, look at, he's the one that's doing all this. He's trying to balance on top of his thoughts here. He's got all this. He looks like a hot mess. I'll leave that to him. He can figure that out for himself, okay? That's what she's doing. She's like, you do you. If you figure out that I'm the Empress and you believe it, and you are the kind of person that can consider yourself an emperor, you know where to find me. And if you don't figure that out, it's really not up to me to do any of the math for you, because I was doing the math before and the math wasn't mathing, and now I'm just done with math. I didn't like it so much to begin with. Didn't need it. I can just intuitively figure shit out. But whatever, you do what you need to do. Okay, that's where she is. I love that. I'm good with that energy, and that feels very relatable to me. What is Divine Masculine energy actually doing? Well, I don't know. That's kind of good. It's like okay. It's the Six of Swords. So he's still in his head, unfortunately. He's not into his heart. He's still coasting on top of the water, so he's still using the head to navigate the emotions. But he is moving from the places where he felt that the emotions were so scary or tumultuous that he really couldn't handle himself into a smoother, calmer water. And he's carried the lessons that he's learned with him. Unfortunately, he is doing a little bit too much of backtracking here. We have him looking into the past. You really should be looking at where you're going. You really kind of want to keep your eyes right in front of you. You want to be very present when you're doing this. If you're looking behind you all the time, you're not going to notice so much the rocks, the icebergs, that are going to pop up. So that's a little bit of concern to me. I do also see him traveling. He probably is traveling. I think that he's, for a lot of you, this is probably more of this person is doing some mental traveling, from pulling themselves away from reflecting so much upon the past, taking the lessons they've learned, instead of constantly going over and over and over events, being like, okay, that happened. What did it mean? It meant that. Okay, let's just move on. Let's just move forward. Let's just go straight ahead. Now, also look at the progression. If the Divine Feminine puts down the sword and is like, you know what? You figure it out. The Divine Masculine picks up the sword and starts to move. So it's exactly what I said. So all things are in order. I do see that there might be some backpedaling. That's also where this person has to come in and be like, so I just need to go back and correct some of this with you so that you can understand where I'm coming from, something like that. Okay, what is going to create harmony between what the Divine Feminine is thinking, saying, and doing? I was almost going to say if she even needs to create any harmony, because I just feel like there is this harmony that she already has, and then this world comes out. What's going to create harmony here is continuing to believe that you are on top of the world right where you are. that you have closed out any karmic cycles where you're chasing anybody, because that you have figured it out. I'm pretty sure you've got it figured out. To continue to sit there, to continue to be okay with vulnerability and acknowledge that it's part of the experience of the connections that you've been seeking and the world building that you've been wanting to engage in, requires a comfortability with uncomfortable things. Be more comfortable getting uncomfortable. And you are putting yourself out there. You're putting yourself on display more in this energy of completion. We have come, we've got the world here and the fountain card. So there is basically what's creating harmony for you really is the completion of this cycle with a person. So, and you'll know when this happens. It will either be, I'm done, I don't get triggered by this person anymore, and they don't have an effect over me, and that is done. Or it'll be like, finally, this has come full circle. They can say what they need to say, and now, things are good between us. What can the divine masculine do to create more harmony between what he's thinking, feeling, saying, and doing? This Page of Swords energy, again, look, she's looking back into the past. And now we're doing that. You can tell by her body language here that it's because she's scared of what's coming. So she's kind of like, it's like, because you picture the Page of Swords as someone who doesn't quite know how to wield a sword yet, and they've got the sword, and she's like, the pointy end comment there on the Game of Thrones, like, stick it with the pointy end. And so you kind of like, you turn your head away. You don't want to see what you're doing. That's the body language here. And that's what I'm kind of getting is it's just this command here from the divine that is like, listen, dude, if you want to experience these romantic connections you keep talking about, and I'm talking to you here too, not your person. Your person's not here. Your person is obeying the way that you think and feel about romantic connections, though. So this matters, in terms of the dynamic. And you could virtually say the same thing to your person. It's 344 now. So now we have 3344 going on. 23344. So you could virtually say that to your person also. But, my dude, if you want to experience loving connection, you're going to have to deal with the uncomfortable feelings of vulnerability that ensue when you start to communicate your feelings for the first time in ways that you've never done before. And that it is going to feel a little bit like, is it okay? Oh, it's okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's okay. That worked. All right. So if I just keep telling you that's okay. Oh, all right. Yeah. So instead of just waiting, watching another person and waiting for an opportune moment to speak, or, like constantly fearing that you don't want to, like, that if you say something, you're going to repel somebody. And so this is a lot of people pleasing, that energy that can come with being afraid to fully proclaim our truth. You just have to brave the discomfort of saying how you feel to people. You have to say, hey, I can appreciate that you're busy. I'm busy too. But I'm never too busy to connect with a person that I'm pursuing a romantic connection with. And if that's something that you do often, we're probably not going to vibe that well. You have to be able to start saying those kinds of things. And that's true for me. Like, I don't care how busy I am. I'm not going to go to bed without checking in with the person that I am building a connection with and have a romantic connection with. Like, that's not going to be a thing that happens for me. At least that's not what I want. If that has been what has happened in the past, that's not how I want to approach romantic connections in my future. So I want a reciprocal energy. I want somebody who's going to, like, want that as much as me, without also being entirely clingy either, right? Like, it's not like I can't go to sleep without that person communicating with me. It's just that I would like to think that within a 24-hour period of time, there is time for you to say, hey, super busy today, but I'm thinking of you, right? It's not hard to do. So that's something that you need to consider in terms of when you're trying to create harmony in relationships. You need to state very clearly that that's what you need without fearing that you're going to be perceived as clingy. And if you are perceived as clingy by somebody that doesn't want to check in with their partner within a 24-hour period, do you want to be with a person who would perceive someone as clingy who would do that? Or do you want to be with a person who's like, oh yeah, totally, I absolutely want to like talk to you as often as possible. Like that's where I'm at with you, right? That's what you're leaning towards. That's what you're building. It doesn't always have to be perfect, right? Like nobody's perfect. And people have life experiences. And that's the other thing too. You need to give things time to understand them, right? Like you can't just know the first time somebody doesn't message you over a period of time that that's how they're always going to be, right? You need to give it time to actually present itself as a true pattern before you're like, oh no, this isn't for me. Because I think that's another thing that people do a lot is because we have infinite swiping capabilities, we're like, oh, don't like that, swipe right, oh nope, that's not good, nope, I don't want to be with you right now. Like you don't give things time to grow. Now that's different than when you just intuitively are like, I don't feel. That's different. If you're like, I don't feel something, way different than, well, I feel something between us, but I don't know, they just don't message me that often, so guess it's not for me. Like give it some time and definitely have a conversation about that before you just shut the door and ghost somebody. Like, come on. Adults here. I just set all of my lives to 18 plus, so I know that you're at least considered, in the eyes of law, an adult. Okay, let's see. 3 of Pentacles and the 9 of Swords in reverse for the happiness potential. That's the face you're getting for the happiness potential for me. Because it's not that exciting. It's very realistic. Okay? You're not afraid. The 9 of Swords is like in reverse. You're not trapped by these illusions. This card came out in the reading for the collective today. And it talked about like just refusing to believe the fears. And then we're seeing the 3 of Pentacles, which is really all about collaborating and building a sense of security together. So it's not like a super exciting ending of the week, like, oh, you're going to have wedding bells ringing or something like that. But it's actually probably more exciting at a deeper level because it suggests that together you are going to be able to build security. It's not going to be just on you anymore. You're not going to be the only one doing all of the work, which is something that you have often feared. So I do actually see the potential for this to work if you can release your fears and work together. And the only way you can work together is through communication. And, in the connection that I was hoping would pan out for many, many years, the main obstacle to that is that any means of communication that I had to me would never be returned. So I could never actually have a conversation. It would just be a left on red situation, and I had no other ways of communicating. So if you have no way to communicate with a person and you need communication in order to build something, that's a message to you that that person is not the person that you can build a connection with because there's no way to communicate. So if you are wondering who your person is, it's not that person. And if you're like, well, but maybe things will change and that person will be my person, that's cool. Maybe things will change and that person will be your person. But in the meantime, what are you going to do? You're going to need to look for somebody to collaborate with on relationship building. This can be a therapist. It could be, a family member that you want to rebuild a connection with and just work on building a stronger connection with anybody that you fear would be hard to. But you have to do something. You can't just sit there and be like, well, this person will change and then I'll be able to build something with them, because you're not changing. So that's actually not true. That's the illusion that you keep telling yourself. This can indicate to me that having a third party connection with someone may facilitate a healing that would allow for a future connection with the person you're focused on. But most of the time, the person you're focused on is simply the third party energy in your life that's blocking your connection with the divine. It's, everybody talks about the karmic this and the karmic that. Most of the time, the karmic is the person that is presenting a lesson for you. And right now, your lesson is you care more about this other person than you do about how you feel, period. That's the lesson of that. It's not the greatest. All right, let's do the oracle card. So now we're going to hear Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine are each going to say something to each other. Divine Feminine is saying here with Pigu, the little pig spirit, use your mind wisely. So she would say to the Divine Masculine right now, are you ruminating, turning thoughts around and around in your head but not getting nearer to a decision or a solution? Well, I am here to protect you from analysis paralysis. Let your mind rest now and allow your intelligence to mingle with the mysteries of intuitive guidance, releasing your tight hold on facts and unsolved puzzles, whether it be a relationship or any other aspect of your life. In fact, now might be a good time to think about something else altogether and release your grip on needing to know. When your thought processes are muddied by fear and anxiety, allow Pig Spirit to lead you back to the right use of your natural intelligence. Take a break, relax, and release that ball of worry. Soon the smart choice will become clear to you. More facts may be needed, more digging for information, and more questioning. When seeking to learn more, enjoy the process of using your thinking prowess. All the elements of your intelligence are reliably guiding you now once you've given your mind a rest. Divine Feminine is like, look, I figured it out, dude. Stop thinking so much and just freaking do it, okay? And the thing that is really encouraging about that is that I think what the masculine energy is doing this week is drawing that same conclusion, because we have the King of Wands underlying the action of this week and trusting the feminine. So I think this message for you today is he hears you, he's heard you, he's doing it. Okay, that's what I'm sensing from that card. Okay, now for the Divine Masculine, what he would say to the Divine Feminine, this is number 25. It is Elephant Spirit. Learn from the past, and this is what he would say. Although we often wish we could leave the past behind, I am reminded that memory matters. We must respect the wisdom of the elders who hand down to us traditions they have shaped to express our connection to each other and respect for the community. What has come before informs what we are experiencing today, and we must never forget our legacy of strength and dignity. I am appearing with the message that we are to acknowledge that which came before and learn from it, which is really in alignment with this card, which is what the masculine energy was doing. The Six of Swords. He's acknowledging the past and learning from his past, which is pretty exciting. So, while this was kind of like, well, you're still looking at the past while you're moving forward, actually what we're hearing is that he's using his past mistakes to help him in this new future that he wants to have. All of us are memory-based creatures, and we must revisit the past to understand where we are and where we are going. The stories of events we have experienced, and the stories in our collective memory, and the stories of relationships we have had can be told in many ways. What story will you tell? I'm here to encourage you to make it one that stirs in you a sense of power and dignity, for you have honored yourself by choosing to learn from your past. Spirit rejoices at your willingness to learn and grow. Wow. So both of you are having profound experiences of one another right now through reflecting upon the past. Now, you, Divine Feminine, have the Wish card coming up, and Divine Masculine, here we have the Keeper of the Harvest and the Sunflower there, which coming out with the Sun card is, and all these yellow dandelions over here on this a wish card is giving sun energy pretty hardcore, so that's cool. Because I love when the sun comes out. It's been winter a long time. Okay. Remember, Divine Feminine, when you were thrilled to pick a dandelion and make a wish, sending the seeds of that wish all over the yard? Wishing is a vital part of the creative process and the key to making dreams come true. Don't let yourself get jaded from not having. Don't shrink for a world that tells you to work hard, be practical, and keep your expectations low. Only by allowing yourself to wish with a full heart can you send the seeds of your dream out into the world's yard where they may take root. Now follow them on the breeze and tend those dream flowers. Your passion and willingness to dream and do creates new gardens for the world and your own soul. So, you know, you did have the Ace of Swords here, which is a very logical and practical energy to be in. And I think you're in an exciting energy right now, and I do think there's probably a little bit of you that's afraid of the too good to be true thing. But this connection is not too good to be true. It is a true connection. And if you haven't found this connection yet, it's the one that is coming that's going to seem too good to be true. I'm hearing that very loud and clear. We've got Keeper of the Harvest now coming out for the masculine energy. It is number 5. And it says, Divine Masculine, when the Keeper of the Harvest is in your reading, she brings alchemy. Bees are nature's alchemists, making honey from pollen, turning base flower materials into liquid gold. Long associated with the goddess, the bees invite you to work your own alchemy, to take the sorrows and disappointments of your life and turn them into grace, experience, and wisdom. It is time to invoke compassion for yourself. You must remember there will be times you could not possibly have known or done better, and must forgive your own ignorance. When you know better but don't do better, self-compassion can help you grasp what the underlying trauma might be that prevents you from acting with integrity. Excuse me. Throat chakra stuff. Self-compassion and understanding are galvanizing forces of transformation and self-cultivation. You are being invited to alchemize your pain and disappointments rather than sink into the stagnant gravity of self-condemnation. Wow. That was a loud and clear message. And yes, I agree with you. This is a very beautiful reading today. We are being very blessed in this reading. Okay, the final 2 cards of your reading today. This is our advice for the next week. Oh my gosh, I don't have to read it again. You can go back and look because this already came out. I respect the property of others. It's back. And I just read about this card, but this is just continuing to respect yourself and respect from others as well. But it's also about this autonomy and interdependence where, no one's heart is a possession to be owned. And this Ace of Pentacles energy where both of you have a stake in this value is coming to me too. That the connection itself is a shared connection. That it is, you're like, when you respect the property of others, it's like the relationship that you have with someone is their property just as much as it is yours. Does that make sense? That's kind of what I'm feeling here. And your self-care activity, a beauty ritual. I love a beauty ritual. So it's number 5. 5 has come up a couple of times already in this reading. So 5 is an important number this week. It is, I'm having so many throat chakra things. It is also the energy of change. So something about this beauty ritual, you can imbue it with the power to be able to change or transform something in your life. Your mantra is, I am beautiful inside and out. Whatever makes you feel like you're manifesting your most beautiful self is worth putting energy toward. Plan a beauty ritual that feels sacred and indulgent. Set an intention for your ritual and stay in a mindful state throughout the experience. If other thoughts and distractions enter your awareness, gently let them go and redirect your focus to yourself. By being intentional, you can turn a face mask the application of makeup, or even something as simple as your daily shower into a sacred experience. Beyond that, look for ways you can create the time and space to have that special beauty treatment. Consider how you could adorn your body to express your unique essence. For example, dye your hair a funky color, wear new jewelry, or perhaps get a tattoo. What could you do to make your daily beauty routine feel more sacred? That is your journal prompt. What could you do to make your daily beauty routine feel more sacred? I love that. There are times when I try to infuse my, like, just my regular shower, like, with Reiki. I'll put, like, Reiki ASMR. A lot of times, though, I just end up listening to a reading. Guilty as charged. Well, thank you so much for being here with me for this reading. I am going to continue to do personal readings over here on TikTok, but I am going to close out this reading for YouTube right now and post it. So the rest of you will have seen this later this evening, perhaps. But for those of you that are interested in a personal reading or becoming a member, again, click the link in that profile for all of that information, or the link below in the box below for all the information about me and the things that you can do over there. There are sales going on. There are free downloads over there. There's lots of little things to check out, plus my music, Pearl and the Prayers. If you don't already know my music, how did you find me? How did you find me if you don't know my music already? Because my music is what I've been doing for a couple decades. So go check that music out, Pearl and the Prayers. You can catch me on all the things. And stay tuned because the EP is dropping very soon. Did you see that light? Did that light happen in both screens? Because it did happen in my YouTube for some reason. But yes, it will be released very soon, and probably sooner than I really would even like, based on what I need to do. How much work I need to do. And that brings me to this last thing, which I wanted to mention. If you watch this far, you're probably a super fan. If you're a super fan and you're looking for a way to get intuitive guidance calls on a weekly basis, and are also fairly comfortable with some basic tech savvy things like using Canva and, replacing thumbnails on YouTube, I have some work that I just don't have the time to do and I need help with, but I would be more than happy to do a little exchange. So an hour of your time for an hour of mine, something like that. If that sounds good to you, hit me up, send me an email, let me know if you're interested in helping out in some way and you'd like an intuitive guidance call on a weekly basis, and you'd like to contribute in some way. I would be really appreciating that. And then hopefully it would be a paid position, but I definitely need to increase my finances to be able to do that for now. So for now, it would just be an energy exchange. And if you have something else that you can do as an energy exchange, I'd also be happy to receive Reiki, whatever. I'm totally open to that. So don't forget about that opportunity to be able to work with me that way if you are limited in finances. I get it. Also, if you are really limited in finances and you're watching over here on TikTok, make sure you check out YouTube. There are hundreds of hours of readings over there. There's over 555 readings on my YouTube channel going back the last 3 years. They are timeless. And they are under the video tabs. And also don't forget about the live tab. The live tab has hundreds and hundreds of hours of readings over there. Sometimes people forget to click on that. So check that out over there. Thank you so much, YouTube. I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to do the Tell Me Everything reading. I will do probably half of it on YouTube and the other half will be for members only. And of course, all of the Tell Me Everything readings going back all the way to, I think, 2 years ago are over on that link for members as well. And if you're a member and you don't have that link, don't forget to let me know. Okay. Talk to you soon. Goodbye, YouTubes.